Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Agent's Edge. My name is Ryan Polimeni. On this episode, you asked, we answered. I want to go to a Q&A session that we had. And listen, if you have questions, I want you to email me at info@ryanpolimeni.com. You ask, I'll answer. Enjoy the episode.
Going into the seminars,
Yep.
starting up with seminars, what would be your advice? So have one scheduled in a couple of weeks. What would be your advice in going into that and what to do, what to prepare for? And actually just right now looking for hotels to book.
Mhm.
And what would be your advice just starting on this whole venture?
First thing, make sure it's 100% first class experience for the
Okay.
client. Don't cheap out on the hotel. I know I always went with Marriott's or Hilton's, something that was very nice, very presentable, high end, because your first impression is everything. I've seen advisors literally do them at like a Holiday Inn, and it's a crap hotel, and it's just like, really, this is, and you wonder why people you want to come. So first and foremost, hotel is key. What do you think your unique message is going to be to these people while you have them, right? So you got their attention, they've signed up, you've got them for a half hour, 45 minutes. Um, how do you plan to be different in your workshop than all the other ones that they attended? So
Yeah.
let me give you this, okay? Because
Okay.
this is the question that I'm asking is when you're up in front of the room and you and so I'm in the room next to you, you're in the room next to me, I'm giving the same exact presentation that you are in the next room. Why would they come into your room instead of mine?
Mm,
And
mm,
there's a few things that you have to pay attention to when you're speaking to a crowd. Number one, you have to know who's in that crowd and you have to know the reasons why they're there. And so the first thing that I always did when I would do my live seminars is I would make sure that 10 minutes before my seminar, I'd walk around the room and introduce myself and shake everybody's hand. And I would say, thank you so much for coming. Hey, real quick, what are you looking to get out of my workshop today?
mm.
And that gives you the ability to, I don't want to say customize, but it's almost customizing the experience for them because you have an agenda to talk about all these things on the slides, but you may come across a slide, for example, taxes, right? You may call Roth. I don't know what's in the Empower. I know it's
Mm.
Megastar stuff. I haven't seen it in a long time, but let's say that taxes are a part of it, or Roth conversions a part of it. What you should be doing is recognizing the people in the room and the concerns that they have and the questions that they have. And throughout your presentation, you should be answering some of their things, not giving it all away. And you should also be giving the examples of how you've seen things done in the past. You may not have ever done a Roth conversion in your life, and that's okay. But if you're up there and you're talking about how powerful tax mitigation is by maybe doing a Roth conversion, and somebody goes, well, what the heck's a Roth conversion? What you need to be able to do in a workshop and presentation, and I'll tell you, the most successful workshops I have ever given are the stories that I tell throughout the workshop. Meaning, you have to be relatable. Like this morning, prime example, right? So this morning, or actually, let me rephrase that. 2 weeks ago, I did a workshop for NASA, and the workshop was a tax workshop. And this morning, I had an appointment with a lady, and she wants to work with me. She's like, right, whatever I got to do. She got 1.1 million, and she wants to do a Roth conversion. That's part of the big strategy. Now, there's more to it, right? But she wants to give us 1.1 million for us to manage and do all that stuff. But here's what I do even in my workshops. So why, and the reason why people will relate to you and want to work to you is because they will feel like you've done it before. So let me give you an example of what I mean. During my workshops, I understand how important taxes are, tax mitigation, Roth conversion, so on and so forth. So instead of me just saying, you guys could do a Roth conversion, it's when you take your money, convert it from a traditional to a Roth, and you can save yourself tax money. Like that's great. Anybody can say that. But what I do in my workshops is I say, and let me give you an example of what your coworkers that I work with, what they do. So you can say something in your workshop that makes you more relatable and gives you more credibility by saying, let me tell you what some of our clients do when they're doing a Roth conversion. Let me give you an example of what that looks like. You see what I'm saying? Now you have a crowd full of people that instead of you just giving lip service, you are describing what others have done that you've worked with. Now, if you've never done it, work with me. Say, hey, one of my colleagues, this is what myself and one of my colleagues do when we are in a position. You can use me. I don't care. Just say, this is what my colleague does. This is the process that when we do Roth conversions with myself and one of my colleagues, this is how we do it. These are the clients that we work with. So when I do a Roth conversion, there's a lot of tax planning involved with it. But what I do is I get together with my team and, blah, 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 blah. So my point is use examples. You've heard it before. You say facts tell, stories sell. All right. Stories will sell it like crazy. So facts tell, stories sell. Anybody can give a fact. I can tell you that 16% of America has a pension. That's great. But if I tell you that only 16% of the United States has a pension, therefore we need to figure out more ways to create personalized pensions. Now, you see what I'm saying? Now it's a story. Now you're using that to start talking about how things can be done. So Cece, the point that I'm trying to make is find points, get really familiar with the presentation you're going to give, with all the material, and find points throughout that workshop where you can find a relatable story. I'm not telling you have to have 20. Find 3. Find 3 points to our presentation where maybe you have helped somebody before. Use the I know you had a pretty big case you were working on. Use that. Hey, I had a client that has $1.5 million. This is what they were looking for. And these are some of the things that they've done. Don't know if it's going to work for any of you here in the room, but I just want you to understand this is what we've done for other people. You see, now, because someone in the room is going to go, ooh, that might work for me. And what you're trying to do is get people to raise their hand, say, hey, Cece, I want to meet with you after. I need help, right? But if you just go through the motion of a presentation, the amount of people that are going to ask for your help it's going to drastically drop. I've been doing workshops now for 7 years. I can tell you the agents that really suck at this, they have a terrible ratio because they're boring. They read off the slides and they expect people to meet with them. No stories, no relatability, no nothing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
So find 3 areas. I don't know what the workshop, I haven't seen it, but find 3 areas that you can relate to. If you have a social security story, a horror story, and it doesn't even have to be a client, use a horror story. Let me give you a horror story. There's a part in there where I talk about the widower's benefit, right? And the widower's benefit is if you die and you meet the criteria where your deceased spouse, if you married 10 years and blah, blah, there's a whole thing. You could, at age 60, you could actually turn on what's called a widower's benefit. And the widower's benefit allows you to get a Social Security benefit from your deceased spouse's earnings history. Now, most people don't even know it's available to them. However, what I do is I use an example of when I did a workshop in Roanoke, Virginia, and I had a lady sitting front row. And again, so now use it. Say, when I did another workshop, so people think that this is something that we do regular. We're big educators, right? When I did another workshop in Roanoke, Virginia, there was a lady sitting in the front row. And when I touched upon the widower's benefit, I could see her squirming in her chair a little bit, right? Her demeanor changed. And at the end of the workshop, I went up to her. I said, thanks so much for attending. Hey, listen, right now is probably not the time. We can talk about it later. But I did notice that when I talked about the widower's benefit, your demeanor changed. I saw, some emotion come on. I said, do you mind just sharing me quickly what's going on? She said, Ryan, I'm 64. My husband died when I was 58. And no one has ever told me about this benefit. I said, that's terrible. And so she came to my office the next day. We went through everything financially, and I sent her down to Social Security's office that same day. She came back to my office the next day pouring with tears because she found out that for the last 4 years, she has been entitled to $25,000 a year in Social Security benefits. She has 2 financial advisors and 1 CPA that work with her. And because those advisors and the CPA don't understand Social Security, they cost her $100,000. Now, my question to all of you in the room is, could you imagine losing out $100,000? How many of you think you might be missing out on some benefits?
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? That's a powerful statement. It's a relatable statement, but it also separates you, right? Because I throw in, oh yeah, she had 2 financial advisors and a CPA, because you're going to have people in the room that have financial advisors and are working with CPA. And if you're delivering a message, an education component that they've never heard before, and you say that, yeah, this person that we work with had 2 financial advisors, they're going, well, I've got a financial advisor. Why isn't he talking to me, or she talking to me about taxes? Why aren't they talking to me about Social Security? You see what I'm saying, Cece? So
Yeah.
if you find things that you can relate to, and that story takes me 2 minutes to tell, but it is incredibly powerful, because I talk about how she was emotional. She cried in my office. She came into my office, right? She attended my workshop. So people, it's a relatable thing that separates me, right? And so those are the kind of things that you should be talking about throughout your workshop, but just pick 3 and make them powerful and relatable.
So during the seminar, is it interactive? Are you like going through your presentation, but it's like having them raise their hand, ask them questions, or what are you waiting till the end? What
Yeah.
is your,
So
what
I
do you,
say, listen, I say that before I get started, just a couple of housekeeping notes. I want to first and foremost thank all of you guys for coming out. I know you're taking time out of your busy day to learn, and what my job is to spend the next 45 minutes with you, trying to keep things very, very simple and relatable so everybody understands. Now, with that said, I know some of you are going to have a lot of questions. You probably have a lot of questions coming in, and I may even create more questions for you. But for the sake of time, because I only have 45 minutes with you guys, I'm going to hold all questions to the end. I'm probably going to answer your question throughout the presentation. So if I don't answer it, I will answer it for you at the end of the workshop. And what I want you to do, though, is write your question down. And when I'm done with the workshop, I'm not the guy that's going to leave. All right. I'm not the person that packs up and just walks out. I will be here. You can ask me a question. If it's something I can't answer tonight, no problem. You'll be more than welcome to come in and we can talk about it further. But I just want to let everybody know, thanks for coming out. Let's get started.
okay,
That's my housekeeping disclaimer whenever I start a workshop live.
okay, okay. Oh my gosh, so many questions, Ryan. Where do I- So
And you know
I
what?
know-
Listen, the first one is going to be the toughest. Let me tell you, when I first started in 2015, when I did my first workshop, I had never, ever, ever done a workshop before. I was the mortgage protection guy, house to house. Never got in front of a room to give a presentation on finances. And my first workshop, I had 58 people. Now, thank God, I knew that I was going to make up just with the law of numbers, right? Like I was going to make up for in numbers what I lacked in skill. So I knew that going into it. And so what I tried to do was, if I didn't like, and I was giving a presentation on federal benefits. That is so complicated. I knew nothing. I was a month and a half into understanding the federal system. I knew nothing about it, but I looked at the presentation and I figured out where I could be strong. Right, talking about federal benefits, I didn't really know. They were going to be able to ask a lot of questions that I knew nothing about. I didn't know much about their insurance benefits, about how their system works, but I did know about how their 401k works, so I could be strong there. I did know about how Social Security worked a little bit, so I could be so. What you need to do is find some parts through the presentation where you can be confident and not just give the stories, but be confident, and that's going to help you be more confident in your workshop. But by not taking questions, that is also going to help you, because it will be incredibly distracting if somebody asks you a question you don't know the answer to and they put you on the spot and make you look bad. It will suck the life out of you, and you will get nervous, you'll get thrown off, and the rest of your workshop will be shit. So make sure, okay, that you are in complete control the whole time. Try not to read off the slides, bullet point things, and talk about them, throughout. But my first workshop, I had 58 people. I went up there and just got through it. Let's say that I got through it. I got through it. I was strong in a couple areas, but most of the time I just got through it. And I had about 30 people that requested to work with me, or request an appointment because we were offering the benefit analysis. So the one thing too, Cece, is to get a better close ratio on the people who attend versus book an appointment, you really got to sell them on why they have to come see you. But you do it without doing it. Meaning, if what you're offering is a benefit analysis, that benefit analysis needs to be the golden ticket to their retirement. So describe what it is, describe how it works, why they need to come in, why you're the only person that they're going to be able to get it from, and it allows them to start seeing the value in working with you. Okay. But my first presentation was difficult. I didn't have anybody teach me this. It was literally, all right, Ryan, number one, here's the presentation. There's 58 people registered. Oh, and by the way, you have to go to Connecticut. You live in Florida. You got to fly to Connecticut and give this presentation. That was my start, Cece. And just from there, the first one was tough, but it's just a learning. What I would do is record it. I would, either just, and don't do it from video. I mean, you could do it, but you'd have to tell everybody that you're video recording it. I would just have a recorder up in the front, next to where your PowerPoint or your projector is going to be. And I would have a recorder there so you could hear yourself, and you'll see, oh, I was weak there. You know what? I probably could have said that differently. And that's how you're going to get better, just by doing it over and over and over and listening to yourself over and over again.
And what would you say the first ones out of the gate, what is the expectations, realistic expectations just starting off? Like,
I run a 40-40-40 here.
Okay.
40% of the people that register will attend. 40% of the people who attend will book an appointment. 40% of the people who book an appointment will do business with me.
Okay.
So, but that's it depends too. It depends on the topic. So like when I did Social Security workshops, if you're doing a digital and you have 50 people registered, 25 of them are going to show up. And out of the 25, if 25 people showed up, realistically, you're going to get 10 to 15 people that are going to request an appointment.
Okay. And do you include handouts, like a folder with handouts? Nothing? Nope. So you give them no information.
All they get when they walk in the door, they get a pen and they get the survey to fill out at the end. That's all they get. Nothing more, nothing less. And if they ask for the slides, I'm sorry, because of compliance, I can't get my slide information out. But if you have questions, make sure you put it down the survey. I'll be more than happy to answer them later.
And is the purpose of that is so they come to you? Because if you give them, because otherwise, if you give them too much up front, they'll be like, well,
thanks for the information. Love the chicken grease, right? I mean, it's just.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So you give a pen and the survey. So you have them fill out a survey versus having a card with the QR code or anything. You just have them fill it out and collect it at the door. Don't let them leave without handing it to you.
Nope. They have to hand it to me at the door. So that's why when you let's say when you enter a room, right? If there's only one door, your table and whoever's helping you needs to be, the table needs to be right next to the door on the inside of the room, right? So when they walk in, right when they come through the door, the table's right there to the left or to the right. When they walk in, the first thing that they have to do is sign in. Once they sign in, you hand them a sheet and you say, this is for the very end. You can fill this out at the very end. Here's a pen. And then, we'll get started in about 5-10 minutes. That's it. Welcome. And then about 5-10 minutes before, you go around, you greet the room. Now, you should not be the person that's at the table and presenting. Not going to work. You need some help for that night. So, bring in a reinforcement for the night, because you can't be it all to everybody, right? And it will not work the way you need it to, because you will have somebody try to sneak out of the room. Let's say once you stop the meeting, people are going to get up and just going to walk out. If there's no one there to collect it, you're never going to get your forms. So I have someone right at the back of the room that's like, hey, thanks so much for attending. Do you have your sheet can you please turn in your sheet? And they would say, oh, I didn't fill it out. Okay, would you mind filling it out, even just rating us on how we did? I mean, as
Mhm.
something, give me something, right?
Mhm.
But the last part of your presentation should be what they're coming to see you for. Explain what the benefit analysis done. Once you go through all that and you fill out the survey, ask questions. Hey, I got a tax question. Great, write it down. Let's talk about it. You come in to see me. Those are the kind of things that you really need to sell at the very end. So your presentation is selling people on how much you know. The very end of the presentation is selling them on why they have to come see you to get the answer.
Okay. Okay. Um, do you use a mic?
Not for 25 people. No.
Okay.
I have my projector, and I bring a projector with me, my laptop, I hook it up, it's projecting against a wall. Or so what you want to do is you need to make sure that the hotel that you're going to use either has a pull down screen. If you don't have a projector, ask for their AV package, so they should have one for you, and make sure it's completely set up. You need to be there an hour before your workshop. Okay, so you need to be there an hour before your workshop, and you need to be set up, and you need to have more than a half hour left, because within a half hour of your presentation, people will start walking in.
Right,
Okay,
right. What if it's 100 people?
but you won't have 100 people at your workshop. I'll just tell you that right now. You won't have 100 people at your workshop, and if you do, then yeah, you can have a microphone, but you won't have 100 people there.
Okay, and you do it classroom style?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So tables, I usually have 2 per table. Um, yeah, classroom style set up just all the way. And I try to
Okay.
keep it 2 at a table. Um, depending on how wide it is. The other thing you want to do too, Cece, is be adding furniture. Don't have so much. So for example, if you have 50 people registered, what you need to do is have the room set up for 20. And
Okay.
then once you hit every seat full, every seat filled, then you're going to go in, you're going to start adding more tables, because then you're seeing people are like, oh, wow, this place is going to be busy. But if you have it set up for 50 and 20 people show up, it's a very empty room.
Yeah. Right, right, right. Do you do refreshments or anything?
I do water service.
Water?
Hmm. They get nothing when they come see me. I mean, and I'll also tell you, listen, if you can avoid a hotel and find a room either at a local library, at your local library, or a local college, you will have a better show rate, because people coming to a hotel know they're going to be sold. People going to a library will be
Oh,
much more inclined to go there,
oh, so
because
you're
it's a place
saying,
of learning.
oh, so
I never
don't,
did I never did I've never done a social security workshop anywhere other than a library or a college.
okay, so I know in the beginning you said to go to the really nice hotel.
Yeah, last resort. I should have said that at the beginning, because it's like when I did my federal ones, I would do them at a hotel because I needed the space. But last resort on an education piece like this should be hotel. If I'm you, go to your local library, get the biggest room that they have, and use that.
Really? And would you think
Yeah.
high net worth people will come to a library?
Yes.
They do.
Why do you go to a library?
Yeah, to get books to learn.
Right. Exactly. So you're teaching an education piece at the library. It is a less invasive and intrusive and intimidating place for you to be. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that Q&A session. We have a lot more Q&As coming, but listen, don't forget, you don't want to miss the next Q&A. Hit the subscribe button. If you're watching, you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and hit that now. If you thought this was helpful, make sure you hit the share button, and for the YouTube algorithm, please hit that like button. Thanks always for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.